Attention, citizens of planet Earth. This is a public service announcement. We have come to tell you that everything that you have been told.
Hey, what's up, LockEmUp Hoops podcast. We're back. I'm Realistic Randy from Mastermind Boltberry. We just talked about the Eastern Conference and Western Conference Finals. Now we're going to talk about officiating. The officials, man, there's been a lot of questionable calls going on in especially in the Western Conference Final. I mean, the East, we already know it doesn't matter what refs you get. The Cleveland Cavaliers, they are the best team in the East, so it doesn't matter as far as what refs you have or whatever. But in the Western Conference Finals, there's been a lot of questionable calls going back to the Spurs OKC series where Dion Waiters, elbowed Manu Ginobili in the inbounds play, even though Manu was stepping over the line. Either way, a whistle should have been called. And now in Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals, Russell Westbrook traveled the world and back in front of the ref's face, and they sat there and looked at it. I don't know if they called a foul or a timeout instead.
They called timeout, and Steve Kerr's like,
and it was towards the end of the game. I want to say it was like a minute left or 30 seconds left, something like that.
Yeah, they were down 3 or something.
Yeah, Oklahoma City was up 3. So Golden State should have got the ball back and possibly tied that game. Instead, Russell Westbrook, they called a timeout or it was a foul or something like that. And then after that, the next possession where they got the ball back after that timeout, Russell Westbrook gets sent to the line and extends the lead further than that. Boltberry, let's go back to you. What do you have to say about the officials going on and the officiating itself in these playoffs?
This stuff is awful, man. Like, it's ridiculous how they're really missing these blatant just calls like this. Like, this is stupid at this point. Like, when I watched it in the OKC Spurs series, I was like, all right, that first one, they got the ball back. It's their fault. It was their fault the whole time, but that call did change it, but they got the ball back. So, I kind of brushed that under the rug. But then it happened again. And, you're fouling Russell Westbrook. We all see that he fouled him. The millions and millions of fans across the world saw this man get fouled. But now we're like, nah, man, you got to foul him harder than that. Like, he's like the Shaq. He was like the Shaq of point guard. You got to, tackle him and stuff. When do we got to do this? It was a foul. When we got, I'll never forget American flag emoji. It's just ridiculous. It bothers me so much. Like, I've been a big stickler about these refs since, the Tim Donaghy scandal from 10 years ago in 2007. I will swear up and down to the day I die that the only reason why these referees and everything is just under scrutiny and under this microscope when it comes to just, let's review this, let's review that. And then now I think they have this new thing where they miss calls that, they all of a sudden review and be like, oh, whoops, we'll send a tweet out on ESPN and be like, oh, we forgot it. Tough loss. Doesn't change anything. That's stupid to me. But I guess we got to have some sort of credibility here since, Silver is, legalizing betting. And, Tim Donaghy about 2 weeks ago said that 99.9% of the refs are gambling on these games. And then you see what's happening with the OKC, just OKC too. I'm just going to point this out to fans. This is only an OKC thing.
That's true.
I've watched every playoff series, every game. Yeah, the officiating's always been inconsistent since 2007, Tim Donaghy, because before that, we never worry about what refs are calling. We're like, oh, he missed a call, that's a bad call. But now we literally visualize or we magnify our attention on the referees of being like what they did wrong, what they missed, and everything like that. So that's just ridiculous to me, too. The referees, I can't stand them. I'm thankful for Facebook memories because every day around this time of year too, because it's playoff time, every time I go through my memory and I just see nothing but me just killing the refs. I should be fined over $100K if I was in the league, just how much I go off on the refs. But it's pretty bad, man. Like, the refs are 2-0. Actually, sorry, they're 3-0 on the road right now. They got the 2 wins in San Antonio. They got this win in OKC. In Golden State. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, they had a chance to win and everything like that. But I don't think people understand that when you make these calls within the final seconds of the game, which is really what matters when it differentiates between whether or not you're getting a free throw or possession back, that changes the game. I don't care what anybody says where it's like, oh, what about the other 46 minutes? And that's
Oh,
coming
on that one. Yep. I'm going to quote you right now on that. I don't care what anybody says about that. It's one of those things where it's like, it's a 2-point game.
OKC got the ball, Russell's traveling, but you give him a timeout instead. And then, like you stated, realistic Randy, he gets fouled, similar to what happened in San Antonio, gets fouled. Now it's a 2-possession game. It's unfair. You're not giving teams a chance. Like, I understand if they had the lead and they had a chance to, like, keep the lead and everything, it's like, that's their fault, yes. But when you're in that moment, the rest, they handle that game. And then that goes back to betting and gambling for me. And more Tim Donaghy. Like, this is all Tim Donaghy things. Like, referees, the league, everybody just literally wants to make sure they have their asses covered based off of what happened with Tim Donaghy. Like, it's people want to sweep under the rug because, remember, he's the villain of the league when it comes to this type of stuff. Nobody ever wants to bring this up. But this is the big issue here. Huge issue with the league is that Tim Donaghy exposed what goes on, and now we have to do all this reviews, all this, like, giving flagrants and make sure the officials are fine. And, at this point, fine the officials too, because now you're finding players based off of criticizing referees from what Tim Donaghy did, because now you're like, oh, you're questioning, these professionals here about what they're doing, but, like, I can coach NAA basketball and call that freaking call, so it's just, come on, let's get right here. And then, I don't know what they're trying to do here. I don't know if they're trying to, get a OKC Cleveland rematch, or not Cleveland, because it's not even like they played the big three. It's a LeBron KD rematch or something. Like, I don't understand. That matchup was like 5 years ago. Remember, Golden State just won, so why are we cheating like this? What are we trying to set up for? So that's really all I got to say about it. Tim Donaghy is to blame for all of this, and it really just stems from that. I won't say I'll blame him, but it stems from that, and I truly believe that.
Great.
I couldn't. That was a lot of points, man. You sounded off against the refs. That was some in-depth stuff. Massmon, what you got?
No, Bowberry, you made some great points. Like, I can't even disagree with you on these calls. All 3 calls or non-calls were terrible. I can't deny that, because clearly that was a foul on Kawhi Leonard. I mean, he grabbed him. I mean,
hugged him.
What else do you want him to do? That was a foul, and that ultimately cost him that game. I'll give you that. But all those other calls, the travel was definitely blatant. But if that's the case, if we're crying about that call right there, we got to call the other travels that happened in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, because let's be real, everyone travels every single game.
We're just gonna.
It's the National Basketball Association. They travel everywhere.
You know what I'm saying? Like LeBron, if that's the case, LeBron travels all the time, and then because if that was such a big play, you know what I'm saying? It is at the end of the game, and they're down 3. But the same thing could happen in the second quarter when they're down 3. You know what I'm saying? But that's a real big play too. But we're not really adding that up. But I'm the firm believer is that, like, that one call is not throwing off the whole game, because like you mentioned, you have 46 other minutes in the game. Golden State was up 13 points that game. Steph Curry threw the ball away about 4 times that fourth quarter, so he ultimately cost them the game. It wasn't the refs that blew them the game. Now, ultimately, that could have cost them that play right then and there, but there was other 12 possessions that KD missed, like 10 straight shots. They could have tied the game up, but they didn't. So I'm not going to sit here and blame the refs for not getting the game right. Now, the fact that we do have reviews in the league now, I actually do like that, but it is excessive, because we try to sit here and, is that a flagrant? He fell on the ground, so we got to check. We got to check the board now. He might have hit him on purpose. Flagrant. Like, that's a little ridiculous. But again, I'm pretty sure if we didn't have that, we'd have people like you, Bowberry, saying, why did they look at that and say is that a flagrant foul, or why that's all out of bounds on them. So, we have that in place now, so we can't question those type of things right now. So I actually do like that that's there, because we can't, sit here and say, well, it could have been off him and the ref cheated that it was off him. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that is in place, I do like that. Go ahead.
Let me just ask both of you guys just one quick question now. Before 2007 and Tim Donaghy, right? None of us really ever paid attention to I don't think anybody in the world necessarily paid attention that much to the rest of, like, oh, you blew this call at the end of the game. Like, it just wasn't a thought. You know what I'm saying? We get mad if it's for your team that's rooting for and everything.
We definitely paid attention, because if there's been a lot of plays where the ball went off somebody else, but it was like you had no proof.
There was, but
let me just say this. Like, it wasn't the focus. Like, it wasn't like this big of a deal until 2007 is all I'm saying.
I think it was because of the case, then they wouldn't have never implemented this. It's always been a problem.
I don't think it's been that big of a deal, like Bowberry's trying to say. Yeah.
That whole investigation blew everything out the window, like, because now it's like you're gambling, you're fixing you're using words like
and bad calls what happened, and bad calls what happened, and it would suck, but it wasn't this big of a deal as it is right now, because now consistently officiating has been poor. It's been poor, man. And I know that the players and coaches, they can't say it. They can't say it because they'll get fined. I'll say it for them. Reggie Jackson said it best. They should start getting fined for, making mistakes because you're right, Mastermind. I know the consensus is to go to old traditions as far as, well, you know what? Y'all still could have did this and you still could have did that and you could have done this and that and this and that. But you know what? It's about time. It's about time that we stop giving these refs a pass by saying, well, you know what? This team should have did this. Referees should still be held accountable. It is amazing that they will go into all these, mythologies as far as calling these plays or these plays. How many times do we sit here and watch NBA games? This is an open question to both of you. How many times do we sit here and watch NBA games and throughout a game you scratch your head maybe 4 or 5 times like, that's a foul? Really? Like, you're calling that? Oh, okay. But then the most obvious foul will happen right in front of their face. The most obvious of calls happens right there, and they're like, "Oh my God!" It's like a scientist. They can make all these chemicals, and they can make robots, and they can make apps for iPhones and everything like that. But if you're like, "Hey, what's 2 + 2, man?" Oh, I have no idea. Yeah. It's amazing, man. It's amazing.
I definitely hear it, but like, I think it's hard to kind of judge a ref. Like because I'm pretty sure if anybody was reffing, you can't always call everything, especially when it's fouls. But travels, if that's the case, we got to call travels all the time.
Yeah, they do, but come on. No, but come on. The
I don't
NBA,
expect them to be correct every time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just when it comes down to the final seconds of the game, officiate the stuff fair. Officiate it fairly.
Officiate the stuff. Officiate the stuff. No, I agree.
Because they travel literally all 3 quarters of the game. If that's the case, because the Euro step is a travel.
Okay, all right, that's fair. But let's check this out though. The NBA, a travel in general is more than 2 steps. The NBA, a travel is more than 3 steps. Okay, I'll give you that. But Russell Westbrook took like 6 steps and slid in front of the dude's face.
Dude, like this in front of the ref's face. We know this is an illegal basketball move ever. Russell was like, "Hey kids, you can't do this in basketball."
Dude, Russell Westbrook handed the baton off to the ref. He handed the baton off to the ref. He was like, "Here you go, dog."
Bleacher Report video, man. This dude slid all the way to Zimbabwe, B.
They could have called it, no doubt, but I'm just not gonna say they won the game off that play, though.
But it definitely had a big impact, though. It definitely had an impact.
That's what I'm saying.
It had some sort of an impact.
Things.
Yeah.
Because if he calls that, think about it. He calls that Steph gets a chance to shoot a 3. Now they miss. Okay, now you got a foul.
Yeah.
They took that chance away by being
changed
like,
that changed the course of the game.
Yeah. They just be like, "Oh, I didn't see it."
But the thing
what
is,
happened?
Yeah.
But the next possession, they didn't score OKC though. They got another chance.
No, they did score. Russell Westbrook got to the free throw line. He got to the free throw line.
Okay.
Yeah, he got to and extended.
It was similar to the
And he missed one, but he made the other. They made it 4 points. It made it a 4-point lead after that.
I hear that, but I just can't because there's just so many parts of the game where
I think you think about all that 46 minutes as opposed to the final seconds. That's the thing.
But still,
Steph threw the ball away like 4 times
he did.
The fourth quarter. Though.
He did.
He threw the ball away.
Did.
He could have scored.
But these refs need to be held some sort of accountable because they are. You can't make these boneheaded calls at the last second. If you can sit here and call these questionable calls where you're like, that's a foul, really? Like, I mean, dude, there are points in the game, every single basketball game where I watch where I'm like, I have to convince myself, I guess that was a foul. Like I guess if the referee said it, but if the most obvious plays are right there, you should make that call.
Those ones I got problems with.
They're not consistent. Like a foul, like on the line last night. I think when he screamed, bad. In fact, that wasn't a foul. You know,
that's like a NASCAR driver failing the DMV driver's test.
Yeah, they're just not consistent. I definitely hear that. I mean, there's something I don't know what we could do to make this better or whatnot.
Can't do anything. It's ruined.
Have a metric system. Have a metric system where you measure referees' performance like the NFL does because you can't be sitting here messing up.
These refs for betting.
I just don't. And another thing that they do is they come out after the game saying we made a mistake.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Thanks a lot. And all you're gonna do is tick off those fans and go to stay whatever. And now look, you're right. Steph Curry turned the ball over 7 times. I was sitting there looking in that game like, Steph Curry, what are you doing, man? Like, I've never thought I'd say that in my life. I said it like 4 times that game. Like, Steph, what are you doing, man? But still, the
See?
most
Lost in that.
obvious call.
Yeah, no doubt.
The most
No doubt.
pivotal
You
call
should
that
be
you need to call in
making
the game,
these
you didn't
calls,
call it.
man.
No, he should have
That's
called
the
that. I can't
thing.
deny
You call
that. I
yourself
can't
an
deny
When
NBA
it's
ref.
pivotal calls,
Yeah, you call yourself an NBA ref. We studied. We're this. We're big and bad. We're getting paid all this money. Make the obvious call. All right, that's all I'm saying. If you're gonna stick out your chest out at these players and give them text for asking what did I do or everything like that, make the damn simple calls. Otherwise, you need to find something else to do. That's all I'm saying.
I'm big on finding them too. To be honest,
Seriously.
I'm huge on.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100.
Seriously.
I kind of feel like
because it's not fair.
It's not.
The owners.
It's not fair that the players and coaches are getting fined for being like, oh, so
Yeah.
say I'm a reporter, be like, so what? How do you feel about the officiating? Obviously, you're clearly mad off the emotion of losing that game because of that call that was missed. You know what I'm saying? And then you say something or you can't say anything, or if you even make a reference towards it, $25K. You get a banner report. The next day being like, so and so got fined $25K for it.
And then you come out the next day, like you guys said, and be like, "Oh, we realized we made a mistake." It's
Yeah.
like, don't do that. You're
that.
already knee deep
Stand
in
by your
guilt.
word.
Stand
by your word.
I want to know when they started doing that because I feel like they just started that. I haven't seen that until like the playoffs. I feel like
it makes it look so much worse. So much worse.
You notice when it's like when they go to the review, they go to like some guy named some like official review.
The guy in like Jersey. The guy in Jersey.
And then they go like, like who is he? Like I understand he was a really good ref, I guess. What is
He'd be like, now when we review this play and we slow it down.
Why
we
is
see
he
here that the guy's like, come on.
So they need to have like an official ref at the game to make these decisions, and instead of having them like somewhere else where we can't do anything about it.
Yeah, and the officials take that reviewing stuff way too out of hand for me, man. Like, let's stop reviewing everything. That's all I gotta say.
They're taking over the games
for like an hour.
Yeah.
I'll
say this. I don't have a problem with the replay review. I don't have a problem with it. I have a problem. I have a problem.
When it's everything.
Yeah, with just everything, the way it's set up. They're supposed. We're these big bad refs. We know everything. We're masters at our jobs. You better not say anything bad about us because you will get fined. But damn it, if we mess up, we'll come out and say, "Whoops, sorry, my bad, we screwed up." But next,
so criticize us though, $25K.
Yeah, exactly. I want to see the fans. We want to see just a fair fight, basketball, mano a mano. We don't want to sit. We want to sit here and think, man, Steph Curry, you shouldn't have turned the ball over too many times. Instead, we're sitting here saying, wow, refs, you really didn't see this big stop sign in front of you, but you kept going 80 miles an hour. You really didn't see that? Are you kidding me right now? I don't know. But anyway, we'll leave it there. Next, we're going to go to Buzzer Beater. This is the LockEmUp Hoops podcast. I'm Realistic Randy with Mastermind and Bo Berry.
Attention, citizens of planet Earth. This is a public service announcement. We have come to tell you that everything that you have been told is a lie.